You're listening to WORT 89.9 FM, Madison.
The Access Hour, where each week we offer you the opportunity to take command of the airwaves. We'd like this show to be as unpredictable as possible, so we need your creative ideas. It's a fair trade. You give us your news, and we give you the facilities and any help you need to get your show airborne. So, get those synapses firing. And when the inspiration for some phenomenal radio lights your creative bulb, get in touch. Everyone is invited to submit their program ideas. Just call us during business hours at area 608-256-2001 or write us at accesshour, one word, at wortfm.org. Programs are scheduled first come, first served. Of course, the views expressed on the Access Hour do not represent those of the station's board of directors, staff, or programmers. But right now, it's time to begin another foray into the freest form program on the WORT schedule, the Access Hour.
Fly by before you find, if you just unhand your mind. Put your big toe.
Welcome to the Access Hour here in the middle of May. Tonight is all about Dane Buy Local. So hopefully many of you around the area, many of the WORT listeners out there have heard of Dane Buy Local before. We're very happy to be here tonight to talk about Dane Buy Local, some of the benefits, some of the reasons the organization is around, members that are involved, and then also what this organization does right here in our community. My name is Jason Hafman. I work with Project Home. We are a Dane Buy Local member, a nonprofit member, and we have some other people here in the studio as well. We're going to start out with the director of Dane Buy Local, Colin Murray. And Colin, thanks for coming out tonight and doing this program.
Well, thanks for having me, Jason. I appreciate the opportunity.
We're going to have some other guests as well coming up, but first Colin and I will talk about a few things, just getting into the history of Dane Buy Local, some of the reason this organization exists. So Colin, why don't you first talk a little bit about Dane Buy Local, just an overall idea of what the organization is and why it exists to begin with.
Yeah, so Dane Buy Local has been around now for 13 years in April of this year. So we're one of the older Dane Buy Local groups in the country. So we're proud of that. We're also really focusing our attention on locally owned businesses. So we want to make sure that people understand the importance of supporting local business, why we work on that diligently, and make sure that we get that message out there to people.
And Colin, when you look at the mission of Dane Buy Local, because I know there's three core principles there, but when you're looking at Dane Buy Local, what can this organization do for this region and also the members of this organization?
Yeah, so the mission that we have is really threefold. It's to collaborate, educate, and promote local businesses. So we work really hard in that area. We try to focus on two different types of two different directions. One is for businesses, as far as why it's important for them to be a member, but also for the general public, to educate people on why supporting local businesses is good for the community and good for you personally. So we really work on two different directions there, which is a challenge for us to be able to do that, to get that message out there. But that's really the purpose of what we're all about.
And when you found, going back to the history of the organization, so how did this all start right in our backyard?
Yeah, so 13 years ago, there were two people from a different nonprofit organization here in town that had this idea of, why don't we support local businesses and put together an organization that can do that? So that was Rick Brooks and Josie Pardella that did that. A lot of people in town know Rick Brooks in particular. He's a pretty well-established name here with the university. So they started this. At the first meeting, there were less than 20 people that attended. It was down on campus. I did not attend that first meeting. After that first meeting, I ran into Sandy Torkelson of A Room of One's Own on State Street, and she said, I went to this meeting the other day. I don't really know what it's all about, but you might want to check it out. So I went to the second meeting, which there were less than 20 people there, and that's really where it all started from. So it was just a seed of an idea that Josie and Rick had, and it all grew from there.
And how did you get involved? I mean, take that next step? I know you went to the meeting, but then for you, what was your growth and journey to get into Dane Buy Local as far as you have?
Yeah, so at that point, I was working for Isthmus Publishing, the newspaper. I was in sales there, and that's why I knew Sandy, because she was one of my clients. And so I just continued sticking with the monthly meetings that were taking place at that point. And I continued to see growth that was established through the organization. So pretty soon they formed a planning committee, and so I was volunteered to be on the planning committee. And then a couple of years later, the nonprofit that we were working with said, "You're overwhelming us. You're getting too big. We can't handle all the stuff you are doing. Why don't you form your own nonprofit?" So we formed a nonprofit, and I was on the first board of directors. And at that time, it was Kelly Starr King, who was from Drake & Company, who was the first president of Dane Buy Local. And she did that for 3 years, and her term was up, according to the bylaws, and so they needed a new president. And I thought it was going to be Jim Bradley from Home Savings that would be the next president. And he said, I got too much on my plate. I can't do it. Colin, why don't you do it? And I said, no, I don't think I should. And he talked me into it anyway, so I became the next president. And by the time I was done with my term at 3 years, the organization was huge. And I was really doing 2 full-time jobs at that point. I was acting as executive director for Dane Buy Local, but then also working full-time with Isthmus. And I went to the board and said, it's just way too much for anybody to handle it at that point. We need to hire an executive director. So we had a big, long conversation about it. Everybody agreed, yep, we need to hire an executive director. And Lance from Yola Cafe turned to me at the end of the meeting and said, Colin, do you want to be executive director? I'm like, oh, do I? So here I am, executive director. So careful what you say in a meeting, because you might end up doing it.
And you talked about the growth and how big where it started from. How big is Dane Buy Local currently?
Yeah, so we started with less than 20 people, and we're over 700 members now. We're one of the largest buy local groups in the country, which totally makes sense for Madison, Wisconsin. We go neck and neck with Louisville, Kentucky. So we're the 2 larger buy local groups at a city or county level between the 2 of us. So there are 2 other organizations that are actually quite a bit larger, but it's the western side of Michigan, so half the state, and it's the entire state of Arizona that are actually larger than either one of us. But as far as a city or county-wide organization, we're one of the largest.
And can you explain to the audience as well what the geographic makeup of Dane Buy Local is? So I know it's Dane Buy Local and then some additional counties as well.
Yeah, so it's all the contiguous counties, the ones that touch Dane County. So there's actually 8 counties total. There's a lot of towns that are really commuter towns, cities. So we wanted to include them as well. So they might be in Columbia County or Rock County or whatever. So they are also part of our footprint.
And the idea of a local business, this is something that's interesting because there's this big push right now in recent years, and I've seen this as a fundraiser personally, that a lot of large national organizations with regional chapters or regional chains are trying to attach themselves more to the idea of being local. They want to seem more local. So how do we know who really is a local business in this day and age?
Yeah, we call it local washing. So it's really a challenge to figure out who's really local and who's not, because a lot of people claim to be local. So a very easy way of doing that to make sure that somebody's really legitimately local and not just claiming to be is to either use our directory that we publish. It's a hard copy that you can look at, or to go onto our website, danebuylocal.com, and there's a directory of all of our members on the website that you can navigate through. So those are really the best ways to do it. When we accept someone for membership, there's a criteria that they need to go through. So it isn't just send in your check and we throw you on the website, but we ask a series of questions, and we research those to make sure that you really do fit the criteria of being a member of Dane Buy Local.
With the growth of this organization now, you talked about before, it was all started out with some volunteer initiatives. How many full-time staff are there? How many people are working continuously just to make this organization be there to help promote those local businesses, those members that are involved?
So we have officially 2.5 staff people, myself and 2 others. Right now, my part-time position is not filled, so there's actually 2 of us that are working full-time on this. But beyond that, we have, I think the last time I counted was 67 volunteers that do various things on committees and helping us in the office and various other activities. So we really appreciate that. And that's really the only way we can get anything done with 700 members is because of all the volunteerism that takes place. So we really appreciate that.
And for members, what are some of the benefits when you talk about being involved in Dane Buy Local? Someone's thinking about becoming a member, or they are a member. What are some of the benefits that they should look forward to?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different benefits that take place. It's interesting. We did a survey of our members and asked them why are they members. And I expected it to be networking or having information on the website, something of that nature. The number one reason that someone's a member is because they believe in the cause. Almost 50% of the respondents, that was their response. So, again, that just kind of fits with Madison and our attitude here. But we do have networking opportunities. We have 6 breakfast events that take place during the year and over 20 evening socials that take place during the year. So there's a lot of opportunities there. A lot of people like that. There's the guide, and there's advertising opportunities in the guide and on the website. We have a jobs newsletter that goes out twice a month. People like advertising in that and promoting that. Amy has taken advantage of that. That will be with us here in a minute. There's media discounts. So some of our, actually a lot of our media partners have offered discount to members. So that's another reason that some people join. So there's actually a huge list of things that businesses can take advantage of as far as being a member. It's more than just having your name on the website.
And you talk about some of the other guests we have here. Let's bring them onto the program now. I'm going to let them introduce themselves as well. We'll kind of go around the room, but we have a few member organizations here that are successful businesses, local businesses, and they're Dane Buy Local members. So we'll let you introduce yourselves. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, my name is Amy Moore. I am owner of Little Luxuries on State Street. We've been in existence on State Street since 1990.
And my name is Becky Petersen, and I am the owner of Kula Yoga and Wellness. And I have 2 locations, one in Cottage Grove that opened in 2012, and a second that opened on Monroe Street in 2014.
So Colin and I are just talking about some of the benefits for members. As members, first of all, Becky, how have you seen that membership benefit you and your business?
Oh, well, definitely being a small business, budgeting is a big concern. And I am actually a child of small business, so I knew what I was kind of getting myself into. My dad had a successful business until he retired. And it's really interesting to try to figure out how to get yourself known out in the community. And having an organization like Dane Buy Local, a large group, like an umbrella of all these small businesses, really does help to just bring awareness to the small businesses. We're all passionate about what we do and the services that we bring and the items that we sell. But beyond that, we need help. We need help being found, and we need the support of each other because we all know what hard work we're doing, and we need the support of other small businesses. We need to shop other small businesses and support each other so that we can all succeed.
And Amy, what about you with some of the things you've seen since being a member?
Yeah, well, first of all, I agree with all of those statements. Also, first and foremost, just like what Colin said, I think first and foremost, I stand with the mission behind Dane Buy Local. I think it's really important, and they've done a great job of educating our community about the benefits in regards to promoting locally owned businesses. So that is my number one. And then also, as mentioned earlier, it's really important, I believe, that small businesses do collaborate together and collectively make, I guess, a larger voice and make ourselves known as a whole group. And I think we can be stronger as a community, as a locally owned business community, even more so with Dane Buy Local present.
And Colin, I know I see this often. I see this from a lot of member organizations on their websites, on posters and other things. They have flyers they have available, but they have that Dane Buy Local logo on there, also saying proud to be a Dane Buy Local member. What does that mean when you see something like that? What does that mean to you and the organization?
I love seeing that out in the public eye. That's very important to us. And at this point, 13 years down the road, most of Dane County residents probably recognize that logo. They might not really understand what it's all about, but when I show people that logo, they're like, oh, yeah, I've seen that. So, in fact, the last 2 years, kept track of how many times we put that logo out in public. 2 years ago, it was over 7 million impressions that we could estimate that people saw it or hopefully saw it out in public. Last year, it went up to over 11 million impressions. So we've worked hard at getting that recognition out there so that it makes an impression on people moving forward.
And it speaks to Becky's point and Amy's point about just saying this takes our small business and allows it to be more visible in the community by connecting it to Dane Buy Local and the other members. Colin, tell me a little bit and tell the audience a little bit about what are the benefits of shopping locally. I know we hear some of the numbers from time to time about that, shopping at a store, a big box store, shopping at a local store. What are some of those numbers, and how much of that money does actually stay locally when you shop at a local place? Yeah, so a couple different points on that. First of all, as far as the public is concerned, why should I care about shopping locally is a question that comes up. It's a whole lot easier just to go to Walmart or Target or Penny's or whoever, but there are some important reasons for shopping locally. One is that it circulates the money back into the local economy, which means that eventually that will benefit your taxes, your property taxes or other taxes that are imposed on us. But also it means a better quality of life here. So, one thing that when you've been here for a while in Madison, you forget how nice the community is. And when you travel around, you are reminded of that we've got things pretty good here in Madison. It's a beautiful community. John Nolan did a beautiful job of laying out the city and making sure that there were beautiful views to take advantage from the lake perspective. So we want to continue to have that take place here, and so shopping locally just plugs right into that. Just keeping the money here locally, it does make a difference. I kind of geek out on some of the different numbers that That's okay.
are out there.
It's your show, so we can do that.
So, just for example, most of these research numbers that I have come from AMIBA, which is a national trade association that we're part of. It's an acronym that stands for American Independent Business Alliance, which is where I know that Louisville is neck and neck with us. But, if you are spending dollars, if you spend $100 at a locally owned business, $48 will remain in the local economy. If you take those dollars and spend them at out-of-town chain-type organization, only $14 stay locally. So it does make a difference as far as the economy is concerned. If you look at it specifically for restaurants, if you spend $100 again at a local restaurant, because their expenses are a little higher, more of it unfortunately does go out of market, but it's still over 34% that stays locally. 65% that stays locally versus the chains, it's only 34%. So it's almost double staying in the local economy. So it does make a difference in spending those dollars and keeping them local. And I know I noticed on your websites, both of you, Amy and Becky, that you have a focus on working with local suppliers, working with local businesses to help supply some of your products and your services at your companies and your businesses. So that also helps that local impact, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's important to you, I'm assuming, since you've gone to do that, because it's not always cheapest to do that, but you've done it because it's important. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the reasons why you decided to take that as an added step to your business?
Sure, absolutely. So when I was opening Kula, it was really important for me to support other people that were doing the same things that I wanted to do. So when I was looking for photographers and when I was looking for graphic design, I focused all of my energies on trying to find local small businesses within the community that I could support with my business, and in turn they could support me back as well. So everything from my accounting and lawyers and all that fun stuff, banking, are all I always choose when I absolutely possibly can to get my supplies and all of my business goes into small business, because if I don't do that, how can I expect other people to do that?
And Amy, I know obviously you have a wide range of products that you offer, but still quite a few of them local and important to you too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And especially being located on State Street, we get a lot of visitors from out of town. And not only do local community members want to have, locally made products, but also our visitors coming from out of town, especially Wisconsin made, and then also, of course, labeled with the Wisconsin pride, of course, as they leave the city, like to take their souvenirs along with them. And also, with Dane Buy Local, I have become familiar with a lot of the businesses, so a lot of the banking services, CPA service, graphic design services. Actually, I'm working with the businesses within Dane Buy Local, so I've been educated with, other businesses that are going to help me succeed as well. So I can thank Dane Buy Local for that. So thank you, Colin, for your efforts.
We're glad to hear that sort of thing, that that is taking place. Sometimes businesses don't realize that other businesses are supporting them. So one thing I would ask both of businesses and the public is, when you go in a place that's a Dane Buy Local member, just tell them you're there because they're a Dane Buy Local member. Otherwise, they don't realize that, and it can become frustrating for a shopkeeper that doesn't think they're getting any benefit out of their membership.
We will take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more here on the Access Hour. Dane Buy Local this week. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Be back in just a minute. Welcome back to the Access Hour. One quick thing for WRT. WRT needs your help to answer pledge phones during their Sticking It in Your Ear for 40 Years pledge drive from June 1st through the 14th. Please sign up as soon as possible directly via the website, WORTFM.org, or call 256-2001 during business hours. Okay, back to the Dane Buy Local Access Hour. Time to talk a little bit more with our guests here from the local businesses, Little Luxuries and also Kula Yoga and Wellness. Colin, I know you wanted to really delve into results and involvement and tell us a little bit about how important that is within Dane Buy Local and the mission.
So the warning here is more research that I'm going to talk about. So we participated in a national survey, Dane Buy Local did, called the Institute for Local Self-Reliance. It was a survey that they do on an annual basis. They're actually based out of the Twin Cities, but they go to nationwide as far as research is concerned, and then they break it down by counties, actually. So we participated as an organization. We encouraged our members to provide information to that survey, and then we get the results back. Just as a side point, Dane Buy Local members tend to be one of the highest group of people that respond to the survey, so we're very happy to have that input. One of the things that they look at is, are Buy Local organizations making a difference as far as their mission is concerned? So on a national scale, last year, just across the board, sales as a nation went up 4.9%. So that's just sales everywhere, 4.9%. If the county that has a Buy Local group is participating in the survey, their numbers went up to 9.3% as far as sales were concerned. So they definitely were seeing an impact as far as having a Buy Local group in their community. But then we got the research as far as Dane County was concerned, and our numbers went up even more. We were 10.7% for that same time frame. So 4.9, 9.3, and we were 10.7. So we were higher than even the other buy local groups around the country. That was for 2015 that those numbers came out. Last year, national sales actually dropped, and I couldn't find the exact number, but it was in the 3.5% range. I couldn't find that research before I came out here. But for the buy local groups nationwide, the number actually dropped. It went down to 6.6. So 2015, the sales, which were reported in 16, was a tough year for a lot of organizations. They dropped nationally. They dropped for buy local groups around the country. But in here in Madison, Wisconsin, we actually went up. We went up to 12.5%. For our members. So we know we're making a difference, and we've got the research here from an independent organization to show those numbers. So we're very pleased with the results that are taking place with our members, and we're happy to see that they're reaping the benefits of that.
And so obviously there's a lot of great work that Dane Buy Local does and has done, but looking at the whole picture of this, why do you think it's been so successful here in Madison and around Madison?
Well, as I've kind of talked about before, or mentioned before, the attitude in Madison just is prime for supporting local businesses. A lot of people here just understand the importance and are willing to support that effort, and we really appreciate that. And so we want to do everything we can to reinforce that message out there. That buying local does help the community, and we get to reap the benefits of it in the long run.
Let's turn our attention back to Becky Petersen with Kula Yoga and Wellness, and also Amy Moore with Little Luxuries. So I just wanted to talk to the two of you quick. We mentioned before about working with other local companies and organizations for your services to help provide your services for products, things like that. And even though some people may assume that means makes your services more expensive, it doesn't. That's not always the case. I mean, Amy, tell people a little bit about how you've navigated through that to find the value in local products and services and working with local vendors and still keeping competitively priced.
Yeah, let's see here. Well, an example could be that, if you have an artist that's going to come and drop off the product specifically at your doorstep and you have that face-to-face interaction, that also means you're not paying for shipping. So that's an example of the cost that could be going down. But also, in general, the cost of the product then, with it being like a local price point, it kind of matches what our economy is sustaining. So those are a couple ways, as well as just in general, the reps, not just maybe... if I do buy product that's coming from other places across the country, we do also have local reps that are located within Wisconsin. So I do have a variety of products that are both coming locally but within the nation and a little bit internationally. But the local part then in those situations are the reps that are within Wisconsin and definitely close within the Midwest. So.
Sure, that's great. And Becky, yourself, for just kind of tying it in locally and keeping it competitive.
Well, I don't think you can put a price tag on the camaraderie of working with a face-to-face with a human that is part of a small business. I think you get more bang for your buck, is for sure. We all have this drive to be successful, and we have a passion for what we're doing, and that really shows in the quality of the work, the quality of the product that we receive from small businesses versus somebody on the other end of the computer or on the other end of the phone or email that we may never see face to face. There's a personal level to it, a personal connection that you just don't get when you aren't communicating and working with somebody face to face in a small business setting. So I think for me, that's priceless. And it's very inspiring to work with other people that are providing a service that they're as inspired and motivated to provide for you as you are providing whatever service or products that you are putting out into the market as well.
And Amy, do you find that your customers really value those products. They see the value in it, and that's a big reason why they come in. That's why they shop at Little Luxuries.
Yeah, definitely. When I would explain it as curating the space, trying to put that eclectic mix of product together within the space. I think what our customers enjoy from that is the experience, the sensory experience of just having a unique variety of locally quality made products or naturally made products by artists, and they get to interact with it on a sensory level and just enjoy, I guess, the unique variety that we have to offer. And it's something that you couldn't experience at a big box store. Or, and then also I think the fact that, going back to the face-to-face comment, also just with me, myself being present in the space and our other customer service-oriented staff members, we do add that personal touch. And being able to see our customers really enjoy themselves sometimes on a weekend basis. People will come in after the farmer's market and just stop by just to check out what we have. The kids love going into the back of the store and playing in the children's area. But it's just fun to actually build those relationships with people. So even if they aren't even buying a product, they're at least having an experience. And I like to think of it as we're kind of building memories for those children that do have kind of that regular connection. Also, we have the children's theater upstairs too, so that's another reason to bring people downtown. But as far as the visitors are concerned, I would say that we're representing the community. So also the experience they get with our products and also our staff members is going to be a memory of their visit here.
And if you don't mind, for just to tail end on that, Kula, the name of my business is Kula Yoga and Wellness, and Kula is a Sanskrit word, which actually means community of the heart and an intentional gathering of people. So right from my branding, from the day I opened the doors, it was about community. And in this day and age, we're buried in our smartphones, and we're hunched over our computers, and we're commuting to and from and multitasking. And for a person to have a human interaction, especially in a retail setting, or like in my business, when people are coming for a service of yoga where they're looking for transformation, and to make that connection with somebody and be able to, for the most part, recognize people and call them by name can be the best thing that happened to that person when they walk in the door. And to be recognized as a human being that isn't just kind of floating out in cyberspace. I think that we lose those connections so quickly. So when we can offer them as small businesses and bring them back and remind people of kind of what we're all up to and what we're doing here and about this connection, I think that's one of the bigger services beyond the products and the services that we sell.
And Colin, when you hear representatives like this and them really behind the whole mission of buying locally but connecting locally, what are your reactions to that? Because I just think it's incredible.
Yeah, it's great to hear the stories that come out of our members with Dane Buy Local. So many people think that shopping local means spending more money, and it doesn't necessarily mean that. Just a quick story, I needed to replace my appliances. The dishwasher died, and so I decided to replace 4 appliances. I shopped around at American TV, which was still open at that point, and Best Buy, and then realized that we have a member that sells appliances, which is Brothers Maine. So I checked over at Brothers Maine. They were $400 cheaper than either Best Buy or American TV by the time I got done with everything. So it was actually cheaper to stay with the local business.
Yeah, sometimes just looking locally first can be really beneficial. We are at pretty much time for another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the new Dane Buy Local fundraiser that is coming up this weekend. Be back in just a minute. Sticking with the independent and local theme, that is music from an independent rock band, Countervoid. So if you're interested, you can always check them out, countervoidband.com. I'm going to throw this in there one more time, give WORT one more extra plug. WORT needs your help to answer pledge phones during their Sticking It in Your Ear for 40 Years pledge drive from June 1st through the 14th. Please sign up as soon as possible directly via the website, WORT.org. or call 256-2001 during business hours. Back to the Dane Buy Local Access Hour. So Dane Buy Local, we talked about it, been around for 13 years, been doing all these amazing things, but guess what? They need to raise funds in order to do some of those things, right? So Colin Murray's back. We're going to talk about the spring celebration. Colin, what are you up to here with the spring celebration? Please tell everybody.
Yeah, so you're right. We're a nonprofit organization. We run on, I like to say, we run on half a shoestring. We have a very small budget with 2.5 staff. So the only way we're able to really do all of this, besides our volunteers, is to raise funds. And so we have our annual fundraiser, and we're totally changing it up this year. The last couple of years we've done a gala that was at the Masonic Center, and did just fine with that. But we really were interested in driving traffic into the local businesses. So I heard about a Buy Local group out in California that set up a different activity to raise funds, and I thought it's probably something that we could do here. So it's still called the Spring Celebration, but it'll be this Sunday. You purchase a ticket and you receive a list of 27 businesses in 3 different neighborhoods. And so that's Atwood Avenue, the downtown Capitol Square, State Street area, and then the Monroe Street area, Monroe Street. So you go to any one of those neighborhoods with your list and go into one of the 27 businesses, and you receive something for just walking in the door with your passport. And then many of the businesses are offering discounts or some special offer as well when you walk in the door. So the ticket price then comes back to Dane Buy Local, but it drives traffic into the local businesses so that you can experience what they've been talking about today, how we really do have a number of unique businesses. It's hard to get around to all of them. You always mean to go into Little Luxuries, but I never quite make it there. So here's a good reason to go and to check them out.
So how do people start that process for being involved in the spring celebration?
Yeah, well, the first thing is buying a ticket, which you can do on our website. And then the day of the event, you'd start at one of the 3, we call them hubs. So there'll be in each neighborhood one location that you can go to. You trade your ticket in for a passport, and then you just go from there with the big list of participating businesses. So those hubs include Atwood Avenue. It would be the Monona State Bank at the top of Atwood Avenue, Winnebago Street. In the State Street downtown area, it is Momoka. So the glass part of Overture is what a lot of people think of that as being. It's actually a separate museum, and so you walk in the glass section there for the hub. And on Monroe Street, it's at Kula Yoga and Wellness. So they've offered their space as well. So you just go to the hub once, get your passport, and then take off from there.
And more information on that, people can find that on the Dane Buy Local website right now? Or?
Yeah, it's right on the homepage. Just click right up at the top, and it'll give you more information on what's taking place and all kinds of good information there.
So how many businesses are we talking about? How many companies, businesses are we looking at in total for this event?
So there are 27 different businesses that are involved. So we were very pleased. It's the first year that we've done this. We weren't quite sure how the members were going to respond to this. It's been very positive. So it kind of makes sense. You're driving traffic into their business. This does tend to be a little more oriented towards retail and restaurants in this particular one. That's certainly a big chunk of our membership. It's not our largest category of members, but it's an important category, and so it's really supporting them and helping them to show off their businesses to the community.
And did you give the date, if I missed it? Give it again, please.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, thank you. So it's this Sunday, May 22nd. Officially, the event runs from 1 till 6 in the afternoon. Some businesses are closing a little bit early. We've got that notated on the passport. And actually, Brasserie V doesn't open till 4, so you can run around and do some of the other ones and end up at Brasserie V at the end of the process and still be able to take advantage of all the good stuff that's being given away.
So, Becky, since Kula is a hub, anything special going on at Kula on Sunday?
Oh yeah, we'll be there, and and we have retail things for sale as well, and just like so we'll have the studio open so people can take a look. Sometimes people are a little intimidated by what yoga is, and they may not have had the courage or the reason to step in to the studio. So the studio will be open. They can take a look around. There's no pressure. They're not going to be taking a class or anything like that. And we can answer questions as well about, what they're looking for, what we can offer for them specifically. And just like all the other businesses too, we'll be offering coupons and we'll be offering little samples of things that they will get with their passport from the Dane Buy Local event.
And Amy, you're right across from a hub, basically. So anything happening at Little Luxuries on Sunday that's special?
Yeah, so let's see. Sunday we're going to be open. We're going to lengthen our hours a little bit, so we'll be open from 1 to 6, just like the event is. Mentioned will be the time frame of that. But also we're going to offer a special discount to our customers upon purchase, and that's just to show our appreciation for the community supporting us. And then we'll also have some tastings of our organic herbal teas that we sell at the store as well.
Great. Colin, what types of things are available or out there part of this event? So, I mean, we know there's some retail, we know there's some food, but what are some of the things people can experience by participating in the spring celebration this weekend?
Yeah, so again, there's a huge list, and I can't go through all of it, but just to give you a couple of ideas, at Momoka, if you walk in with your passport, they will give you a ticket to one of their upcoming receptions, films, or Momoka night events that take place there. So that is a nice offering. Chocolate Shop outdid themselves because they have locations in 2 of the 3 neighborhoods, so you can actually double dip on their... Okay. So at each location on State Street and on Atwood Avenue, you get a free scoop of ice cream at each location, so you can actually get 2 scoops between them. So there's the double dipping. Yahara Bay, who's not in any one of the 3 neighborhoods, is actually going to move into the new Von Foss store on State Street. So Von Foss is participating along with Yahara Bay. And so there'll be all sorts of samples that'll be taking place there through the store. And WORT is participating as well. So Sunday is the block party for WORT. And if you have a passport, you go over to WORT. They're giving away CDs. So that's a nice advantage. Over on Atwood Avenue, Gail Ambrosius is participating, and she's giving away chocolate sorbet. So there's all sorts of good things that are that are taking place from our members.
Well, it's interesting just to hear the array of things people can experience if they go out to one of these neighborhoods or multiple neighborhoods in the process, and hopefully there's enough time to do that for some people. Is that the hope, that people will kind of circulate to the 3 different neighborhoods or areas?
Yeah, that we encourage that. I'd like to see somebody hit all 27 businesses. That's going to be a challenge in 5 hours to do that, but there's probably somebody out there that could do that. One of the things that we'll do to help with that is there will be a shuttle running between the 3 neighborhoods. Union Cab is helping us out on that. There is an additional small charge for that, but the shuttle will be running between the 3 neighborhoods continuously during the 5 hours of the event. So you park your car once, and then they'll take you. The drop-offs will be at the 3 hubs, and then also at Berry Chic, which is a very chic store on East Wilson Street, one of our members. Which is also very close to the WORT block party as well.
And I know this is the first time around for this type of event, but you've already seen such a great response from members wanting to participate, your expectations for the community wanting to come out and experience it, what are those?
Yeah, so being a first-time event, you never quite know what's going to happen, so that's a bit of a challenge. One of the concerns I had early on was that we didn't want to overwhelm any of the stores with 1,000 people tromping through the store in 5 hours. That would probably be a little overwhelming, I would guess. So we are limiting the number of tickets. It's 600 tickets is the max that we'll be giving away or out there. So we want to control that a little bit so that everyone has an enjoyable event. We'll see how it goes this year, and then we'll make adjustments in coming years. I know that there's a number of members that are not in those neighborhoods that would like to participate, so we might be able to work that out in future years.
So you see this as something that can potentially grow to more areas, and then just have all kinds of people shuttling around a Sunday in May in the future, right?
Yeah, wouldn't that be great? Just supporting local businesses. That's what it's all about.
That's great. So as we look a little bit more towards that event, what other events do you have coming up that Dane Buy Local sponsors and features where the public can get involved?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of things coming up. It's kind of funny. The first 3 or 4 months of the year we're a little quiet, and then things really kick into gear moving forward here. So the end of June, it's June 24th through July 4th, we do our Independence Week, which is actually more than a week. It's 11 days, I know. And so there'll be some activities that'll be taking place with that. We're just starting to work on that activity. In August, we're going to do what I'll call essentially a community garage sale that'll take place over at the Northgate Shopping Center, which is where Feed is located. So in the parking lot, we'll have we're calling it Rebuy Local. So there'll be a bunch of activities that'll take place. It's more than just a garage sale that'll take place there. So again, we're working on those details right now. And then in November, December, we do our Shift Your Shopping program, which again is bringing attention to the retails organizations, members in the organization, and that ties in with Small Business Saturday, which happens the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So we've got a lot of different things that are coming up here in the next few months.
When you talk about you've got all these organizations involved, and you mentioned a number of them, I just want to give people a little bit more idea of kind of the types of organizations that are Dane Buy Local members. So if you can cover some of the categories and some of the, so if someone's going to go to the Dane Buy Local website, what kind of resources do they have there to say, can I find a painter that's Dane Buy Local member? Can I find other, people in the trades, things like that? I'm also wondering.
Yeah, so, on a weekly basis, I get either a phone call or an email from somebody saying, I need X. Can you help me out? Can you help me find a local business? And I'm glad to do that. I'm happy to do that. So anybody who wants to contact us, feel free to do so. I've only been stumped twice in 13 years where I couldn't come up with a member to fulfill their needs. One was somebody was looking for exercise equipment. So we don't have anybody that makes equipment locally. There is a company in Cottage Grove that makes exercise equipment, but they're not local. So it wasn't fitting our criteria. The other one was we don't have any hearing aid organizations that are part of Dane Buy Local. So those are the two that stumped me. But virtually anything else, we've got it. So our largest category of businesses organizations is actually B2B, business-to-business type organizations, so accountants and doctors and the like. That's really our largest category. But nonprofits, actually, just like where you work at, Jason, we have over 100 nonprofits that are part of Dane Buy Local. Now, not all of them identify themselves as being a nonprofit. For example, Group Health Cooperative is a nonprofit, but they are in the category of healthcare, which probably makes more sense for them. But there are actually about 100 nonprofit organizations that are part of our group. So the list is endless and continues to grow. And one category that seems to be growing recently are the larger organizations are now starting to take note of what we're doing and are joining Dane Buy Local as well. So we're happy about that. Promega was one of the most recent ones to do that. So we're happy to to see those organizations joining us and supporting the cause. And, you know, for some of those organizations, it's not a lot of tangible benefit to them to be a member, but it's telling their employees that this is important to support the community, and it improves the quality of life here in Dane County. So that's why they're joining us.
I want to go back to Amy and Becky for a minute here. Amy, first of all, tell people, one, your website and how they can contact you and find you one more time, and then also why it's important to you to be a Dane Buy Local member.
Yeah. So you can find us at www.littleluxuriesmadison.com. We also have a Facebook page as well. Little Luxuries Madison is the name of that. And again, Dane Buy Local, I think it's super important that small businesses, local businesses come together as a cohesive group and really make ourselves known in our community and connect with our community collectively. And also, I just really appreciate the benefits of really getting some major events around town that support the retail businesses, particularly. The Independence Week is super helpful, as well as the focus around the holiday season. I've noticed the last 3 years our sales have been very strong in December due to that recognition of the importance within our community. So I appreciate those efforts that Dane Buy Local does make for us. Mm-hmm.
And Becky, please, your website for Kula again, and then I love the website, by the way, and then also why it's important to you to be a member.
Thank you. So you can find me at www.flywithkula. That's FLYWITHKULA.com. If you're wondering what that's all about, as one of my niche markets is in Kula, we specialize in aerial yoga. So we literally fly in some of the classes, not all of them. And so that's where you can find me. We also have a Facebook. We have a social media presence, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, things like that. So if you're up on that stuff, you can find us there as well. And as far as being a part of Dane Buy Local, we kind of touched on it earlier. It's really it's a group of people that have passions, and we want to share our passions with each other, and we want to support each other in our passions so that we're successful. And with an umbrella of an organization like Dane Buy Local over our heads, it allows us the freedom to do what we're good at, and that's offer the services and offer the retail and offer the things to the community that we really support and feel connected to, and have an organization that supports us and helps us be more visible. And again, like Small Business Saturday is a huge one for us, and getting people to buy, gift cards and things like that from a local business versus, just hopping on the computer and buying a general one. I mean, that's really huge for us, and that continues to bring in business to us far beyond these events. Having these opportunities to get that exposure and get our awareness that we exist and that we're out there and that we're here to serve the community that we're a part of.
Colin, some closing comments from you before we have to sign off for the hour.
Well, it's great to hear from these two as far as how supportive they are of Dane Buy Local. We have a lot of members that are in that category of being big supporters of what we're doing. We really appreciate that. That just means that we're able to put more of our resources into Dane Buy Local because of the support that we get. So, really appreciate that, and thank you for coming and helping me tonight on the radio.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. I want to thank Colin Murray, Dane Buy Local Executive Director, Amy Moore of Little Luxuries, Becky Petersen of Kula Yoga and Wellness, Dave Lorenzen, our engineer, and Amy here, and, of course, WRT for allowing us this opportunity to be on the air tonight to talk about Dane Buy Local, the Buy Local initiative, why it's important to shop locally, spend locally, get involved in your community. All those things are important. It just makes us all stronger. So one more time before we head off, WRT needs your help to answer pledge phones during their Sticking It in Your Ear for 40 Years pledge drive from June 1st to the 14th. Please sign up as soon as possible directly via the website, WRTFM.org, or call 256-2001 during business hours. It's been a while since I got to do live on-air reads, so that was fun. Thanks again to Dave, WRT, Colin, Becky, Amy, and also Britt here in studio. We really appreciate the opportunity. The spring celebration is Sunday, 1 to 6. WORT Block Party is also Sunday going on, and it's part of the spring celebration. I can't understand any reason why you wouldn't participate. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on Sunday.